Welcome back once again. We are going to do a little bit of word association. You ready? Word association, if you're not familiar, it's where I say a word and then you say out loud, or you can say it in your head if you'd like, the first word or the first phrase that pops into your head. Okay? Here we go. The word is Thanksgiving. All right, did you all say something? Hopefully. What did you say? I tried to imagine things that people would say since I can't hear you here through the camera. But maybe you said something like food. Or maybe you're a football person, so you said football or your favorite team. Or maybe you said gathering. Maybe you said pandemic. Maybe you didn't say anything this year because you know what? You don't know how to feel about Thanksgiving because it's not what you expected or what you hoped for, no matter who you are. I almost guarantee that. Because you never thought 8 months ago that the COVID pandemic would still be on our minds, still be raging. You thought, we all thought, at least most of us thought, it would be long, long gone. So maybe you didn't say anything. But what if whatever you said, or whatever you didn't say, what if none of those things were the word that we associated with Thanksgiving? What if we associated with Thanksgiving the word Thanksgiving? Like giving thanks. What if that were the thing that popped into our heads? And maybe this year that's, you don't need me to tell you, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's different than every other year. Maybe it's an opportunity in disguise. An opportunity to kind of tune out all the peripherals that have to do with Thanksgiving and all the questions you have, gathering, food, etc., all of that. Maybe it's an opportunity to set those aside and simplify and focus on the thanksgiving of Thanksgiving. And God gives us an invitation to do just that in Psalm 95. Listen in. Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song. For the Lord is the great God, the great King above all gods. In his hand are the depths of the earth, and the mountain peaks belong to him. The sea is his, for he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. Come, let us bow down in worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, the flock under his care. This is God's word. Now, so far, as you've gone through this website, I've led you down the road of gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. And nothing wrong with that. Everyone loves gratitude. It's wonderful. Everyone says so. You Google like benefits of gratitude or if gratitude is good for you, you will find all sorts of sources that say it is wonderful. Just even on the first page of Google, you'll find articles from Harvard, from the University of California, from Psychology Today, from the New York Presbyterian Hospital, which was ranked the #1 hospital in all of New York for 17 years in a row. They all say gratitude is good for you. It helps you be happier, it helps your relationship with others, it helps you sleep better, helps your immune system, lowers your blood pressure, and the list goes on. It really goes on. It's a long, long list. Other people will say having a gratitude journal where you, for example, every morning you wake up and you write down 3 things that you're thankful for, 3 things that you have gratitude for. It's a wonderful idea. And I'm telling you right now, you should do that. It'd be fantastic. And at the same time, gratitude isn't exactly the same thing as thanksgiving. At least not according to Psalm 95. And here's the difference. Gratitude is a feeling that is basically centered in us. And again, gratitude is wonderful. You should practice it. But it doesn't necessarily need an object. It's more about the feeling and the emotion that I have. I have gratitude, and that is a good thing. But Psalm 95 gives us the whats and the whys of thanksgiving. And there's an object to our thanksgiving. Here are them. Here are the whats and the whys. Here's the first group of whats, you might say. What should we do? Well, thanksgiving means sing for joy, shout aloud, come with thanksgiving, extol with music and song. Now, those are wonderful, wonderful verbs that bring to mind exuberant pictures. But here's the key. Each of those verbs, as I said, has an object. Listen in. It says sing for joy to the Lord. Shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Now, I got to stop there for a second. Because are you, and I'll be honest, like me, feeling more than usual like you don't know what's going on? Like you don't know which way to turn, you don't know one of the next steps, if not the next step to go forward with in your life. You're not sure of what is solid ground, of who you should be listening to, of what is exactly the truth with all the different things happening. And this is on top of just the normal feelings like this that we feel. Do you feel this more than usual? The Lord is your rock, this says. Your solid place, your foundation, your certainty. And not just for now, for today, for the next week, for the rest of this year, or for the next decade. Not just for that, it's for all eternity, forever, because it says He's the rock of our salvation. He's told you that He's saved you forever. Even when someday death, no matter how you die, when death takes you from this world, He's saved you beyond it. Shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. And then there's more. Come with thanksgiving. Not just in general, though. Come with thanksgiving before Him, before that Lord. Like, you know how when you go up to someone, and maybe it's someone you've always looked up to, or a famous person, or someone you really admire, and you don't quite know what to say? Come with thanksgiving, it says. We know how to go up and approach God. Come with thanksgiving, thankfulness. And finally, in this first group of what's, extol with music and song. And extol can mean even blowing a horn, making a big noise, a shout of thankfulness. But not just in general, extol Him. Do it for Him. That's the what. But why? Well, it continues. It says, because the Lord is the great God. That the is important. It's not just a great God, not just one of many options out there. No, He is the great God. And there's more. He is the great King above all gods. Now, you and I, even if you're a Christian, and even I as a pastor, we have little g gods, lowercase g gods. Things that we trust in, things that we hope for above everything else. It might be a person, it might be a relationship, it might be a life situation, it might be a problem resolving in a certain way, a feeling in your heart that you're searching for. We all have small lowercase g gods. But the Lord is the ruler, the God over every bit of that. So be thankful towards Him. Because He's the King over all gods. But there's more. It says, in His hand are the depths of the earth. Have you heard of little baby Sabi? She was born almost 2 years ago now. She was born in December 2018. And she weighed 8.6 ounces. Yeah, 8.6 ounces. Just over half a pound is what she weighed when she was born. She was born at 23 weeks, 5 months pregnant her mother was. The nurses could hold little Sabi, I can't even imagine, in the palm of their hand. She was in the hospital for 5 months. 5 months after she was born, but then she left, and she survived, and she's a healthy baby. She is the smallest baby ever to survive. Think of holding a baby the size of an apple in your hand. That's what it's like for the Lord to hold the deepest parts of the earth. That's how big He is and how small even the deepest parts of the earth are compared to it. And when we say the deepest parts of the earth, the psalmist, he means all the earth. Because listen to what he says next. He says, the mountain peaks belong to Him. The sea is His. His hands formed the dry land. This is to say every single thing in the universe is God's. That's what this means. The depths, the heights, the land, the sea, everything in between, all of it is God's. And that's why it pays to have thanksgiving to Him. But now we go back to what's. What do we do in thanksgiving? We bow down in worship. Now, you can be thankful. You can say thank you to anyone. Your friend gives you something nice, says something nice to you, you say thank you. But if you bow down in worship to any person, they'll say you're crazy. And if they don't say you're crazy, well, then that's proof to you that they're crazy because they're accepting not just your thanks, but your worship. We only bow down in worship to God. And then he says, kneel down before the Lord, our Maker. Now the reason is clear there. He made us. But kneel down before the Lord. Kneeling, sometimes when you do it, it's an act of submission and obedience and vulnerability. The person you're kneeling before has power and authority over you. But it can also mean something else. Sometimes when you kneel, it's to receive a blessing. And one example is like in the United Kingdom, when someone gets dubbed as a knight or as a dame, and they kneel down to receive this blessing. The word for kneel and the word for bless in Hebrew, one and the same. And this leads well because we're going to hear a lot of blessings that we receive from the one we kneel down to, our Maker, the one we bow down before in worship. Here they are. We do this because He is our God. I said earlier, He is the God of all other gods, but He's not just that. He's not just the owner of everything. He is for us. He is for you. He is yours. He's the God of the universe, but He's also your personal God. He knows you. He loves you, even if it feels like no one else does, and even if it feels like He doesn't. The Bible promises you He does. He is our God, and so we bow down and worship Him. And there's more. There's more blessing. We are the people of His pasture, the sheep under His care. Now, this is a motif the Bible uses all over the place, that we are sheep. But we're not just left to wander and roam by ourselves, finding our own way, providing for ourselves. No, we are in God's pasture, Psalm 95 says. Like He's set up these fences, and inside these fences, inside of our life, He provides us every single thing that we need. Now, there are times when we're dreaming about beyond the fence, like what else is out there? Maybe there's something for me that is even better than God can be for me. Maybe He's holding back some things from me. Maybe I can find something even better if I just go outside the fence a little bit. I know what God says, but I got to test the boundaries. I got to see if He's really telling me the truth. We're tempted to do that all the time. Me too. But let me tell you, God is the one worth trusting. And there's so many reasons, but go back to the beginning of Psalm 95. Remember? He's the rock. He is the foundation, the only truly firm place in all the world. And not just today, but for all eternity. So there are the whats and the whys of thanksgiving. So now, if you've been watching all the videos earlier in part 1, you wrote down 3 things that you're thankful for. I want you to bring that back up or find the piece of paper. Look at those things. Now, think of one more thing. Think of one more thing that if it happened, you would be over the moon. Like, dream even unrealistically, I don't care. Like, what is the thing that would happen that if that thing happened, you would be thankful maybe more than you've ever been thankful in your entire life? Think. Ready, go. All right, you got something? Great. I'm going to tell you a little story about a girl who basically had that happen. So it was a few months back, beginning of the pandemic, and this girl, I heard this story from someone else, she's 10, 11, 12 years old maybe, and she's very into Broadway musicals. So she sat down and she wrote handwritten letters to a bunch of her different favorite Broadway artists from all different shows, all different people. So she sent them all off. Wonderful. Then all of a sudden, one day, an envelope arrives for this little girl in the mail from New York City. someone wrote her back. But it wasn't just, it wasn't just anybody. She had written to a bunch of cast members from Hamilton. But it wasn't just one of the secondary characters or chorus member. No, guess who wrote her back? Mr. Hamilton himself. And this wasn't just like a stock letter that he sends out to fans. No, he took the time to handwrite her a letter. He answered her specific questions. And maybe you can imagine how excited she was. She got this letter and she did circles around the house. She was so happy. She smoothed it out, framed it, and put it up in her bedroom on the wall so she could see it every single day because it would make her so happy. But she didn't put it right next to her bed. No, because right next to her bed, first thing she'd look at when she got up in the morning was this. It said, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, God, for I have put my trust in you." Because she knew, and it's the truth for all of us, Mr. Hamilton was great. Whatever the thing that you just thought of that would make you thankful beyond thankful if it happened, whatever that thing is, it's great. But the great God, the King of all other gods, who holds everything in his hand, who is our God, our shepherd, who is the rock of our salvation, he is so much better. What a God to be thankful and have thanksgiving to. Happy Thanksgiving.